igneous rocks, and then next week we'll look at sedimentary and metamorphic rocks. So first off, we're just going to quickly define what a rock is in general. And a rock is a solid mixture of one or more minerals. So every mineral that's on its own could be considered a rock, but a rock can also be a mixture of multiple minerals together. So if you have a couple minerals all mixed together and then those form a solid, their own solid thing, we would consider that to be a rock. You couldn't just pour a couple minerals in a bowl, stir them around, and call that a rock because they're not joined together as a solid. It's going to be a solid mixture of one or more minerals. And today we're going to look at how do igneous rocks form. And an igneous rock is going to form when hot molten magma cools and solidifies. So we've got this hot molten magma, it's cooling, it's turning into a solid. Right? The minerals that form in there, we consider that to be an igneous rock, all those minerals together. So that was kind of a review. Now we're going to get into some new stuff. So we know that magma can cool underground or above ground, and that we get different mineral sizes as a result. It turns out we have names for this as well. So if an igneous rock cools below the surface, we say that it is an intrusive rock. Right? And the way I like to remember intrusive is inside the earth. So this is from magma, and intrusive rocks cool slowly, which means as a result you get large grains, you get large crystals in the rocks. An extrusive rock forms from lava and has a small or no grain. It has either small grains or no grains. So things like basalt or obsidian have very, very tiny grains, very, very tiny crystals, because the magma cools, or rather the lava in this case, cools so quickly. So we've got intrusive, forms inside the earth from magma. Extrusive, I like to remember, has exited the earth before it cools, and that cools from lava. So we also know that not all magma is the same. That different types of magma have different melted minerals that form different types of rocks. And we're going to add to our basaltic and granitic, really just a mixture of the other two. So we know that basaltic magma is high in iron and magnesium. Right? Really the key is that it's high in iron, and that it's low in silica, which means as a result we get very dark colored rocks when it forms. So by looking at an igneous rock, you can tell that it's basaltic because it's very dark in color. Right? And we know that this basaltic magma has a very low viscosity. It flows very, very freely. On the opposite ends of the spectrum, granitic magma we know is high in silica and forms light-colored rocks as a result. Right? This very stiff magma, right? Very high viscosity. Right? Most granitic rocks are going to be intrusive, but we'll see that you can get some extrusive igneous rocks too. They're not very common, but they definitely do exist. And our last one is what we're going to call andesitic magma. And andesitic magma is basically a little bit of a mix between basaltic and granitic. So it has more silica than basaltic magma does, but less silica than granitic. So you can go basaltic and granitic as either end, and andesitic is somewhere in the middle. And these rocks, they have a different appearance depending on if they're intrusive or extrusive. If they're extrusive, they have very small crystals, so they end up looking at a dark grayish in color. Right? So it's going to be a deep gray, kind of very, very dark, almost like pencil lead gray. Or we'll have a mixture of white and black crystals if they form intrusively. Right? So intrusive, the big crystals can form, and so it's easy to see the white and the black. For extrusive, since the crystals are so small, they kind of visually blend together into just a grayish color. Right? So when we classify an igneous rock, we classify it as two things. It is either intrusive or extrusive, and it's basaltic, granitic, andesitic. So there's two ways to classify intrusive rock. And so any igneous rock, rather, will have two terms, intrusive or extrusive, and basaltic, granitic, or andesitic. So we can have an intrusive basaltic rock or an extrusive andesitic rock. Right? And we'll practice identifying all of those next time we meet in class. So a couple questions at the bottom, and I'll see you guys next time.